Yeah. Hey, hi. Hello to all the Facebook and YouTube colleague, friends, seniors and junior who are watching online discussions under the heading Live Pharma Coalition. Every month or every week, we can say LPC brought to you a various pharma experts from R&D, that is the research and development, academics, quality control, that is the QC, quality assurance, that is the QA, marketing, sales, packaging, regulatory, supply chain, finance, human resource, that is the HR, training, and other pharma departments as well as the sub departments. This will enlighten the knowledge about the current happenings and in the future various department and the subfield of the pharma at a single glance during this 1.5 year sessions that we will be able to see the complete glance about it, right. Now coming to begin with the online discussion today under the heading of LPC 14. So in a LPC 14, that is the Facebook and YouTube live webinar. In today's the LPC 14 Facebook and YouTube live webinar, we have a pharma expert speaker from the pharma finance, marketing, and the sales. So we will have three different topics. So we will have a first speaker, that is the Mr. Manoj Sinha, sir. He is from the abroad. And the second speaker will be Mr. Yogesh Singh, that he is from the Noha Biomedicals, and Mr. Manish Upadhyay, sir. He is from the Evexia Life Science. So yes, we will have a brief introductions about them. Before going to their introductions, I will like to introduce our the panelist. Along with me as a panelist, along with me, the Mr. ICS Verma, sir, he will be there. Currently, he is the pharma leadership coach and the freelancer in Hyderabad. Over to now you, sir. ICS, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Raman, and once again, welcome all the speakers and all the participants who are actually encouraging every week with a lot of your participation and your question and answers, and encouraging us. So this session we have experts from both sales and marketing, and from a different experience and expertise. As you all know that Live Pharma Coalition is a non-profit organization, and the disclaimer is the views expressed by the speakers in the forum is their personal views and nothing to do with their organization or even with the Live Pharma Coalition. So with this, I would request the speakers one by one to just give a gist about what they're going to speak today. Mr. Manoj, you can just unmute your mic.
Sure. Thank you very much. Good morning, all of you who joined here. And thank you very much, Raman and Mr. ICS Pharma and the entire Live Pharma Coalition for inviting me and helping me to get this occasion to kind of share my expression, my learning, and so on and so forth. My topic is quite an upfront one. They say winning is important, and culture is something that is understood by every single person, but it's easier said than done. About creating a winning culture is about, people say, am I in that position that are going to be building the culture? But to bring this forward upfront, it's not about a leadership responsibility alone about creating a winning culture. It's something that each one of us together in our own roles, whether lateral leadership or whether formal leadership or informal, going to be creating winning culture. It's something which enables people to get into their productivity at the top of the productivity, and therefore I thought it was it would be extremely critical, that all of us together can express my learning and share with the group. That's what my topic is.
Thank you, Manoj, and they definitely will have great insights, in your session. Yeah, moving to Yogesh.
Yeah.
Yogesh.
So good morning to everyone, and I hope everybody is doing good in this very tough lockdown times. Thanks to Live Pharma Coalition, Mr. Vinod, Mr. ICS Verma, Mr. Raman, for inviting me on this forum and providing me this brilliant opportunity to share my thoughts on a obviously very complex topic, but I'm trying to make it very simple when I speak. It's about basics of finance for sales managers. And my topic would be certainly to those sales managers who are out there in the field and offices trying to put down a lot of quotations, trying to win deals, win customers, give away discounts, and see that they come out winning. But at the back end and in the hindsight, it's very important to understand how does the sales and revenues affect the profitability and the overall gross margins for the company, and in turn, of course, net income. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to teach anyone or kind of focus on how to become finance experts or accountants. But the idea here is that to showcase or possibly request to most of the training cells in the pharmaceutical and the medical device companies to share some insights about how does the finished product comes out of any organizations and what are the costs involved behind those products so that it goes out in the market. And also the medical reps, the sales managers, the frontline force, they are aware that there is a cost and a value attached to building this brand, and that needs to be realized.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, that's a great session. Definitely we are looking forward to you. Yeah. Now moving to Ms. Manish.
Yeah, good morning everyone on YouTube and Facebook, and also good morning to esteemed speakers. And most importantly, I'd like to thank LPC coalition team, Mr. ICS Verma, Mr. Raman Marke, and Mr. Vinod Vatnani. The topic which I'm going to speak is scope of customized therapy in the new normal. The objective behind is what are the challenges faced when you launch a particular company, a new product, a new concept, and a new entity altogether pan India. And secondly, what is the scope of this customized therapy in the coming days? We came across the channel distribution works like doctors prescribed and the drugs are available at retail and stockist level. But there are certain set of products can be explored in coming days. When it comes to some certain disease, not only life-threatening disease, but also something which affects the quality of the life as well, how to customize the product as per the need of the patient, as per the diagnosis, clinical correlation, and as well as the history of the patient, so that ultimately objective is to pinpoint diagnosis and provide the solution to the problem of the patient. So that is my entire topics revolve around this only. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, Dr. Manish. So definitely we'll have more insights into your session. Now I request Vinod to just welcome the.
Yeah. Thank you, ICS. Again, as I said, today is a friendship day. And today being a friendship day, as you know, the best friend for any individual is knowledge. I will start again with a poem being a friendship day. Knowledge, oh knowledge, our best friend. Our friendship won't ever end. As long as you are with me from lot of challenges, I shall be free. All those who are knowledgeable, by default, they become respectable. So let us keep updating our knowledge, and over a lot of others have an edge. So with this poem, I'm sure my colleague Raman has already shared that this platform is for sharing knowledge. And we have the eminent speakers who will be talking about sharing the knowledge. The sole purpose of Life Pharma Coalition is not make any profit, but to help the pharma individual gain the knowledge and update themselves. So today with us, we have Director Abbott, which is our second largest pharma industry, second largest company. So I will request Mr. Manoj Sinha to kindly share his presentation.
Sure. Thank you very much, Vivek. Vinod, first of all, thank you very much, because you are the one who approached me and I was wondering what is it that I needed to share. And I think I'm reminded of, before I share the slides, of what Jack Ma said once. Once you reach a level through experience, maybe at the age of 50 or something, it's the time for you to kind of share your experience. And I think I've reached that level. So it's important that, whatever I learned in my experience, start sharing one by one, where, it could be helpful and benefit. So thank you very much, all of you. And I'll just share my screen and my presentation as well.
Before Manoj shares his presentation, just to share about Sinha sir, he has a 30 years industry experience, has grown in this pharma industry, and today he's a director in our second largest pharma company, Abbott. And he has worked in different companies apart from Abbott, like Aventus, Lupin, Nicholas Piramal, Alchem. Maximum time he has spent in Abbott. So currently he's associated as a BU director for cardiology BU. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Vinod, for that introduction. And it's let me at the outset, first of all, wish all of you who are part of this, program, who's been attending this, a good health. Safe, remain safe wherever you are. It's in a pandemic situation. We didn't even imagine in our lives that we'll be together inside our home, contained, for so many years, so many months together. Something which is a very extraordinary time, and I thought it's a great initiative by Live Pharma Coalition to kind of bring before some of the speakers or some of the people who have had the experience in their lives to share with each one of you, someone who are already in profession, someone who is aspiring to become leaders, and so on and so forth. I chose a topic which relates to every single one of us in whichever role that we play. Now, what does it mean to talk about creating winning culture? Bear with me. Internet is hard under tremendous stress, and it takes its own time to get the slide changed. So, what do we mean by creating winning culture? Now, this is something which talks about an enabling culture. Now, we know winning doesn't require a definition. All of us know what winning means. Culture means the way we do things. Culture can differ from one house to the other house, one organization to the other organization. But then winning is a behavior. Winning is a desired attitude. Winning is a desired state of that everyone wants to relate to. I think that culture, creating a culture which enables everyone to reach that kind of potential, is what we call it winning culture. Now, we talk about winning. A lot of us talk about winning, in different kind of sphere of things. One is winning really important? Now, we all know if you don't play to win, why do you play at all? Therefore, all of us know for sure winning is the critical aspect. Now, I haven't come across anyone who doesn't want to win in their lives. So then that's how important. But what does winning mean? And I have a very small set of slides to kind of, more importantly, I look forward that if there are any interaction happening, that's what I will look forward to. What exactly is winning anyway? In winning in every sphere of life, whether it's in our profession, whether it's in our family, whether it's with our children, whether it's anything that we do, or sport, it's all about contest of well-defined objective. When we achieve or exceed is called winning. Winning has personal objective, winning has professional objectives. This is something which comes to all of us very handy, and it's very, very, very easy thing to relate with. Now, just to kind of, in the context of things that we want to bring here, is that why exactly winning is important. Now, all of us know, as I mentioned earlier a couple of minutes back, is we are born to win. No humans want to lose. And we have our primal instinct that compels us to achieve. In fact, it's something that I haven't come across anyone who's ever said, look, okay, I have fallen and therefore fallen, and I've fallen, this is the end of the life or end of everything else. Falling, rising, falling, rising. And that's what humans are all about. It's about, in relation to what we know about every single individual, is that today I am more successful. I have done more. It's all about doing more and more and more and more. If this winning was not, imagine what the world would have been. We wouldn't have seen the invention. We wouldn't have seen innovation coming in. Someone does something, and here someone who wants to win, who wants to offer something, said, okay, I am prepared to win. This is the whole scheme of things, which talks about this, the thought and action which initiates every moment of our lives. It's extremely critical. Winning is an attitude. Winning is life. Winning is all about that. Just imagine if that's the case, what happens when we are in an environment where winning is not the culture. Now, surprisingly, when we say winning is all human, why winning will not be the culture? Or what comes in the way of winning, building the winning culture? There could be various things. You've been now exposed to a variety of things that's happening around us, which tells us the environment that we are in. Sometimes these are not enabling. These are winning at others' cost. Now, that's not winning. Now, winning culture is all about creating the enabling environment where all of us together win. Now, Just imagine in one environment of one individual succeeds, the other environment, he fails. What does it mean? It says that the environment differs from one place to the other, and adaptation is difficult. Adaptation to an extent of getting, because it's for all of us, the leaders or not so former leaders, it's for all of us to kind of create that environment where every single person finds it easier to adapt and kind of gets into the culture. Now, culture is created by, they say in our homes, we wake up every morning and we go to God and say, thank God we have a day here. And so on and so forth. And then we go out and we touch the feet of our elders and we thank them for their support. That's one of the culture. And you see the other home people just come out and do whatever. That's not bothered about what they giving respect to them, but that's the way they are brought up. That's the way the culture is. Nothing right and wrong about it. But in each of these cultures that is created, we have to see that the role every single person plays, and that this is not about formal leadership in that position who creates the culture. Of course, this is the responsibility of them, but I think all everyone around. And I say, even if you're not a leader, but you are the one who think differently, any one of you who may not be in leadership position but does things differently and can importantly play a role in creating the winning culture. Hence, this is important. Now, there are why and how we have understood this, why it is important to have that, but what builds the culture? There's a very simple, slides that I have tried to present to you, which talks about more the essence, more and more the points that he talked about. This comes from the experience that we all had. Now, it's taken for granted that my culture is a winning culture, or if you better adapt, or it's my way or highway kind of a thing that we often hear. So really, for me, there are 9 important steps, 9 important elements which build winning culture. How often have we understood this when we say, create team of people who share a passion? Now, this is the first step to kind of building winning culture. Imagine we have a team, they cannot be thinking together, but they are like-minded people. They share a vision, they share the passion of the team. Now, imagine if a set of people, 3 of them aligned with your vision and 2 of them not disaligned to the vision. 3 of them, they pull you up, and 2 of them pull you down. You have to push everyone around, push them out, saying, okay, this is my vision, this is what we want to achieve. A typical story what you saw in Chuck Day, where you saw stalwarts coming together in building up the women hockey team, where some of them were arrogant and some of them were willing to work hard. All those who were willing to work hard, sharing the passion of becoming the champion. That's what Shah Rukh Khan chose. Shah Rukh Khan didn't choose someone who came highly skilled, who had the track record, and so on and so forth. He created a team which they were willing to share the passion, had the common vision. Imagine if that happens, what happens? Is what we call it the magic that we talk about. People who demonstrate passion, toward your team and goal, they do not require push every morning to come out of their bed and go out and work. If they share the passion makes people highly productive, highly happy. And I think at this point of time, it is important to say that the passionate people together are happier people. And if they're happy, they will achieve more, they'll deliver more. That Kenneth Blanchard said in one of very simple books written, that people who feel happy about themselves are the ones who deliver outstanding results. It's not the other way around, that you deliver results and then feel happy about it. And that starts from creating a right team. For my suggestion is, whether you are a team leader or whether you are a team player, important to understand, are you part of the right team? I keep saying this, if there's somewhere I don't believe in a team member and doesn't share the passion, it could be meant for different teams. It's not important to demean anyone. But remember, you have an objective. Every team has a purpose, and you need people aligned to that purpose. So that's my first step as far as building winning culture is concerned. Now, we've always seen in our teams that we talk about, how we talk about various other things. and not truly remaining focused. For us to create a winning culture, to talk about the result driven, we remain extremely focused. Let the team know, let the team know what is it winning means for them. What is it to make sure that they don't lose sight of their goals. Give them what you call regular reviews. If there is any way they're getting digressing or they're getting distracted, bring them back, because that's what is important. It's not anything else which matters. Oh, this guy is known to me, this person is close to me, this person comes from a different background. Everyone in the team sees that, right? So that's not a winning culture. Winning culture is remaining focused on where we're going, how we're going. This sounds so easy, but I'm sure all of you who are working in teams, you understand. While the result is important, of course, it drives this. There are many other things which also keep distracting the culture, and then people say it's not a good culture, or it's not the enabling culture. And I've seen so often people coming to me in the interviews and say, look, culturally, this company, what does it mean culturally? This is what it is. Now you may have a differentiating order intakes. So this is extremely critical to remain focused on result. And what happens is that everyone together talks about result, talks about not about the effort, not about the background work or noise or those things which are not part of a winning culture. So that's number two. Now, what's number three? So, this is very upfront, basic communication. Now, communication is what? I want to communicate something. All of us know communication is a very simple word, yet very complex in terms of understanding. But communication is the foundation of any team, without which there can't be collaboration. So it's about transparency. It's about two-way communication. It's about encourage people to communicate, right? I have seen so often, I think all of you on the call, all of you in the experience would have seen this. While I like communicating, but I don't like listening. I don't like people to be encouraged. What happens? What's the game that we're talking about? The communication opens the pathway, encourage people. And transparency means what? Nothing is getting hidden. Yeah, it's whether it is in sport, whether it is in any other team or any corporate that today, however things are hidden, and then there is doubt that keeps creeping in everybody's mind. So what is getting hidden? What is going to go? Suddenly on a one fine morning, go. This is kind of a exploded, and people will always remain skeptical. The entire team. But if it's transparent, every single step, and you encourage people to kind of participate, however good, new, however experienced that person may be, because you never know, who's holding the gem with him. Maybe a new person coming in, maybe someone who doesn't get influenced by the current environment that you're talking about. Maybe he's holding a gem there. Encouragement is the one way of helping people to get belong to the team or belong to the house that we are in, and it just plays another stimulus to kind of good ideas and positive working environment, positive culture. And I would say, to me, this is one of the most important thing, because when we talk about enabling culture, we talk about winning culture, we talk about helping everyone come together and open the positivity aspect of things. Now, when that happens, how often we've seen that, I think, and this is very often, when you say how often is not the right word. Whenever mistakes happen, who is at the receiving end? The receiving end is, I told you to do so, right? You didn't do it well. And hence, if anything goes wrong, we see people blaming each other. Yeah. You then blaming each other, or when the leadership said, okay, I told you to do so and you didn't do enough, look, this has happened. But the enabling or winning culture is what everyone is allowed to make mistake. I mean, of course, all of us are human. We will make mistakes. And when are we going to make mistakes? When we know our things, when we are absolutely expert in our scheme of things, are we going to make mistakes? We're making mistakes only when we're trying new things. We make mistakes only when we are being pushed to perfection, and we want our teams to be perfect in execution, to improve, to execute, newer things. We want them to be future ready. We want to push them every time. How often that we see, and I don't know how many of you go to gym or how many of you are fitness conscious, but when you go to the gym, just sometimes observe if you're with a good trainer. A good trainer, always stretches you and makes you say, look, this is where the perfection is. This is where we need to go. And he holds you, pushes you towards this, and suddenly you discover, oh, you could do this. But if he told you, look, you couldn't do this, I told you to do this, this, and if we didn't do this, okay, I blame you for not listening to this properly, not understanding the instructions clearly. This is one of the biggest dampener. When you don't back people, and so it's always the leadership. It's also said about leaders that leaders take blame of failures. Okay. Leaders are ones, and leaders are not former leaders. Leaders are anyone. Leaders can be anyone who thinks individually is a leader. They learn from the mistakes, because when we are making mistakes, we are trying to do more. We're trying to learn more, and these are times when becomes absolutely crucial to have the ability of anyone to bring the family together and they as a cohesive unit. And this is where the culture comes to test. Yeah. When things are bad, they say there is a character comes out on form, and this is okay. This is what this person is. This is what the leader is. When things are good, everything is happy. Everything is great. Then you don't require leaders. When things are going well, it's just on an autopilot. When things are not going well, when things we try to do more and we fail. I think that's where leadership comes. And once you're part of that culture, I think you tend to commit more mistakes, and you will always learn more. I think that's the point number 4. And the 5 I just mentioned a few minutes back about collaboration. Now, collaboration necessity. Nobody wins on its own. If winner are an individual, that's not winning. That's everywhere we know team wins. And when team wins, when we start understanding, and there's a question in Gallup, they say, do you respect the individuals that you work with? How often that we say, this fellow is a bullshit, right? This fellow doesn't know anything. I'm the biggest person in the earth. That team, doesn't have respect for every single individual. Just imagine how the team dynamics would mean about. Because if that person, as I mentioned to you, somebody is holding a gem and holding a key, if he doesn't work for you, you never succeed. Success is all about everyone coming together. And hence I say collaboration is a necessity to team success. And there is always a saying in matrix organization. There was someone say, I don't know whether you understand matrix. I think it's something that a lot of people, a lot of departments in their own silos work, and they say, okay, but everyone has a key. Okay. So then someone will say, look, you have to collaborate with everyone, whether you like it or not. And nobody wants to get into forced collaboration. Required is more like a hygiene, but more important thing is a willing collaboration. What we call it, when you encourage everyone to kind of collaborate and speak. And so I spoke about this in communication piece. You start understanding that this piece comes so naturally when you're communicating well, when you have respect for everyone, and so on and so forth. And together, everyone learns from everyone experience, and therefore there is a readiness for every single human being, every single team member to come forward and say, look, hence I got this today. I wanted to share with you all, and imagine the kind of enthusiasm and intensity in that team that we're talking about. These are very upfront things, but if all of these happens, the teams are like wonderful set of people, and they can move mountains, they can do anything outstanding which is not even heard of. And there are teams which have done this with following these kind of some of these in my experience. This is something which comes to me as the most critical. Now coming to 6th one, empowering autonomy as an essential step towards getting in culture. I said, look, how often, and I want to give an example. I don't know who, if somebody is on a call and can see what I'm talking about, is something that that individual I know who to say. And those days when I was a medical rep, I started like many of the frontliners. is to have telephones. We didn't have mobile phones at that point of time. So there would be someone, a boss will call me, and it's a very favorite example. A lot of people who are part of the call would know me talking about this very often. So when I used to come back home after work, this fellow will call me at 10 o'clock in the evening and say how was things and so on and so forth, and all of these things, all the complete detail. Perfect. 10 o'clock, you give a report. And then he will call me exactly on the same next morning, 7 o'clock, just ring me up and said, and then I used to tell him, look at this person. What would have happened between the time I slept in the morning and woke up in the morning? And one day I got frustrated and said, look, Bhagat, this is what it is. I slept for 10 hours. Nothing happened in between. Okay. So, those are the ones, and when you work in such leadership, such kind of a culture where everybody's keeping an eye on whether he's coming at 6 o'clock, going at 5 o'clock, what calls did he do, where is he working, whether he's not working, and so on and so forth, it's not going to work. People who get supervised more generally don't work. People who are given empowering autonomy is about, I know you are responsible and you will deliver what it is. What it requires is support. Supervision at times is necessary, but not keeping, not policing, not what you see very often in teams, they say. And they are dampener, they're big and dampener. Now imagine today, all of us in home, completely contained. If somebody did not believe that we can work from home, how life is going to be difficult for those people who are managing or who are leading us. So, and I truly believe people generally work harder and have fewer distractions when they are working autonomously, because they know they're here for a purpose, they'll deliver. And I said this right at the beginning of point number one. If you doubt people, remove them of the team. Okay, there's no point continuing with them. If you doubt and still have people in your team, I think to my mind, you're creating a very poor culture for every individual. So I think that's point number 6. I hope I'm coming closer to my time. I shouldn't be exceeding this. And the 7th one, building trust. A very, very, very simple one is building trust take time, but it's critical, because all of us in a team where we see trust as a foundation, all of us wanting to, willing to do, going to a extra mile daily, because you are trusted, you're not being doubted. You go to a different extent altogether and deliver some outstanding result. Because as they say, and to my mind, I think all of these teams that I've created in my life, I think I keep saying I may not have enough dollars in my account, but I think I have hundreds and thousands of people whom I have touched one or the other thing. I think that's the most important bank balance that you have, because you build teams based on trust, and you are still associated without even a formal binding to get associated. Trustful teams not only give their best, they are retained, they remain part of the team, they're happier, they're satisfied, and they all know there is an unhindered opportunity to present any of their feelings or concern. They're not feeling good, because you see, if you look at this, that some, this you see in more athletic, and there are a lot of things. India got talent kind of a thing. When you see, if there was no trust, you wouldn't have seen things happening in the life. This happens to every one of us, all of us. But if you are into a distrust situation, you don't enjoy even a single moment. You're not willing to give even 1% of what you can do. So to me, that's the 7th and most critical one. And then finally, one of the important point that I wanted to bring to your notice is, when you are in an environment when everybody is policing and everybody is around you looking at whether on the screen of a laptop, are you looking at Facebook? Are you looking at YouTube? Or are you looking at, ORG? Are you looking at IMS? Are you looking at, what are you looking at if somebody is watching or somebody's policing and you're asked to do things you don't enjoy? And as they say, at work, you should have friends. At work, you should have fun. At work, you should have freedom to operate. Now, and those are the ones who go to a different level of performance, different level of team creation. Fun promotes natural thinking. Fun promotes creative thinking. Fun promotes a sense of belonging to the team. Fun doesn't let you know that you're working. Fun doesn't let you count the working hours. Fun let you do whatever it is that you want to do. So when I mentioned in my slide here, this is about booster productivity, performance, team retention. Very obvious, those outcomes. But the greatest perk of building is winning culture is much more fun. And that's where I thought this is the when you come out and say your happy faces of your team, you go to a different level of leadership experience. And they say one coronavirus, anything can get destroyed and distracted. I mean, your life is very small and it's important. It's very short, not to have too much of fun that you want. And when you say work, fun at work, you're talking about 80% of your time goes at work. Only 20% goes to your family, 20% goes to whatever that you're talking about. And the ninth one that I wanted to talk about, celebrating success. And I've written this mention here. One is fun, one is success. Wise leaders achieve success, we know many of those wise leaders, but wisers are those who celebrate success, and that's where we miss out. And the ninth one is the most critical as far as I'm concerned to talk about. When you do all of these things, celebrate, because work hard, party harder is not necessarily party in a different sense altogether, but I think this is what to me it means. And hence the honor to take about, if somebody saw winning not at everybody else's cost, winning, if winning isn't everything, it's the only thing that matters. And hence the culture that we want to create is going to matter, because winning is the only thing that we're talking about. And we as individuals have the responsibility of creating the winning culture in all spheres of our lives, not only professional, but I think personally too. So I thought I wanted to make it very crisp, and I remain in the time frame. So thank you very much for your attention. It was a delight presenting to whatever I thought. And thank you very much, Life Pharma Coalition, for giving me the opportunity.
Yes. Manojji, stop sharing your screen. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes. I think, Manojji, it was very insightful presentation, especially for pharma people, creating a winning culture. You gave them a very powerful message. Being a leader, if you want to win, there are 9 important steps which you talked in your presentation for winning culture. These steps include passion was the first, share the vision. Second step, you talked about result driven, always have end in mind. Third step, you talked about communication being very important aspect in winning. Fourth is mistakes, even though will happen, but you learn through those mistakes. So it is always said that stretch yourself, go beyond. Next, you talked about team. You cannot work as an individual, but yes, when you have to drive a winning culture, it has to be a team performance. Very important. Sixth is empowering autonomy, giving the person to work on its own. As it's always said that leaders generally bring the best in the individual. So it's not constantly monitoring, but yes, giving autonomy. You talked about 7th important point is building trust, and 8th is having fun. So, and having fun and celebrate success. So these are the qualities which is there, which makes a winning culture. Thank you for very insightful presentation. It will help not only the pharma guys, but also from the students who are attending through college, different colleges we are connected. So there is a lot of appreciation which has come on the Facebook and YouTube. I'll share from the YouTube some of the appreciations which have come. There is an appreciation from Vishal Sharma. Vishal Sharma says, great topic. Sudeep Baumik also says that it is very excellent presentation. Then there is Praveen Sharma, who has also thanked you for this presentation. Biju Nair says it was nice. Yashwant Mishra, who is one of our member, which is there of Life Pharma Coalition, he also said there is an excellent insight which you have given. Senthil talks about insightful and good presentation, Mr. Sinha. So a lot of appreciations which have come for this presentation. Now I will request my colleague ICS, any questions which have come up or any further which are there, the points or the appreciations, kindly share with us.
Sure, Vinod. I think it was really wonderful presentation and straightforward to become how to become a great leader. So we have questions as well as appreciations. First, I'll go with the questions. So from Armugam, the question is, in challenging COVID, despite knowing work-life balance, many of us not able to achieve. So if you can show some insights on this.
Sure. Sure. I think very rightfully, what's the name is that you said?
Armugam Periyasamy.
Armugam. See, Armugam, I think you make a point. And I was a few minutes back, we were talking informally. I realized, when you're not supervised, you do not know to what extent you can work, and the pressure builds up when you get supervised too much. When you have too strict targets to be achieved on a particular day, and it is not going to happen. Okay? It has to be your willingness, your desire to achieve something. And if unfortunately that's missing, I think we'll have a work-life imbalance. The other day, someone was talking to me, and therefore, hopefully, this example will be suitable. How do you, my day starts in the morning at 4 o'clock and ends at whatever time. Then someone one day asked me, how do you still get time to go to gym those days or go to exercising or something? It's important to prioritize. You want to sleep 1 hour more or you want to sleep 1 hour less, and prioritize things. You will always have 2 hours less to sleep. Even if you 8 hours, you will say 9 hours is better. So it's important to prioritize. And my point is, create a life balance, because you've got to say no at some time. And because if you're not feeling good, trust me, it's not going to work. So it's good to say no at times.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. And we have one more question from our panel member, Yashwant Mishra. So how to build trust with team in this COVID crisis?
I think it's a very important question. Trust is more demonstrated than said. It's an easier thing saying, I trust you all. In work from home, today has been a scenario where you trust your employees, right? You trust your team. Do whatever you like. And you see, my immediate reportees, I don't think I start with him, what did you do in the morning, what did you do in the evening, what did you do in the night, and so on and so forth. Because I trust all of us together. I say, if you don't have trust, don't let them be part of your team. If you are distrustful people, cannot form a team. If you have any doubts, get rid of the individual. But as long as they are part of your team, you've got to trust them. You have no choice. And build trust over a period of time, because building trust takes time, and trust is the essence. Trust is the cornerstone. If you don't have trust, get rid of the individual.
Yeah, thank you very much. And one more question from Armugam again. So he wanted us to share any case study kind of thing where a senior non-performer to performer. How you bring him to performer.
Well, I will not be able to offhand kind of remember. There are many. I'll tell you what. I think we have had this person. I don't want to name this. Was in a particular team, very sort of a rebel, right? And then there was somebody told me that he doesn't work, go to union and so on and so forth. I mean, it's very difficult at a leadership position to get to the level to understand what exactly is a micro. But I did that, and just shifting him to a different team. Right? So this is about the environment that we're talking about. There is nothing. No one wants to sit here and sleep. Yeah? Everybody. I said this in the morning. Write the first one thing. Okay, everyone wants to win. The only thing is, are you enabler? Are you the blocker? There are 3 types of people. There are 2 types of people. One is the potentiators, leaders, who will say, help you potentiate wherever you are. There are few who are blockers. Blockers are the ones, are the most insecure one, who will come and say, oh God, he didn't even ask me and he's now moving forward. I have to ask him who gave you this idea and wherever it is. They're called blockers. And the other one who say, oh God, even if I didn't tell him, he has done this. He's a brilliant guy. Why don't I potentiate him? So these are 2 words for me. It's coming very, very, very clearly. So let's change this. Sometimes there are many examples. I will not be able to Armugam talk about on them. But I think just building trust, talking to the individual, understanding his concerns, and addressing them one by one would be the biggest resolver.
Yeah, thank you very much. And there was also a lot of appreciation. So what we will do is we will take other questions. There are many questions for you in the
no problem.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions coming up. As rightly said, we'll take up after all the presentations are done. Just a brief, Shishendu, Manish, Senthil, these have appreciated the presentation which is there. Just wanted to make a point. So thank you so much. Be with us, Manojji. So
Sure.
here we have our second presenter, Mr. Yogesh Singh. Yogesh Singh, you can share your slides.
So looking forward. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Yogesh Singh, again, is an individual who has grown in pharma industry. He is heading sales and operation with Nova. It's a US-based company. He not only covers India, but also the SAARC countries. He has a rich experience, and I'm sure he will give you immense in terms of today's insights on his session, which is there on finance. So over to you, Yogesh. Please do share your slides.
And unmute your one.
Unmute yourself. Yogesh, you are muted. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Okay. Is it audible?
No, slides
I-
are not visible.
One second. Now, is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. It's visible.
Okay.
Do full screen.
Okay. Now it's fine.
Yes, now it's fine. Yes.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Manoj, for an excellent presentation. It was really intriguing and interesting. A lot to learn. Of course, learning curve doesn't stop. So my topic is obviously complex, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So I'm not a finance manager, by the way. I'm a sales personnel like you, and I've grown through different sales ladders and marketing ladders, and now leadership roles, and at an international position now at Nova Biomedical. So primarily, we have all here who are salespeople and aspiring sales guys or marketing guys. But I just wanted to throw some insight on what exactly sales. Sometimes we really forget the basics when we had learned in school or colleges or during our field exposure. So as it is said, during at most of our national managers and vice president, when they come to address us during our business reviews or sales meetings, they always say, sale is not complete without the collection of money. This is a traditional revenue recognition principle, not only in finance, in sales, everywhere you go. Now, sales is at the top of the pyramid. So at the bottom of the pyramid, we have all the processes like R&D, production, quality control, brand management, quality management, so on and so forth. And what is the end result is the sales. So the entire company or organization basically works after sales, because sales is something which brings in cash. Now, if you look at what is the difference, we always ask ourselves, what is the difference between sales and marketing? Primarily, I have been a sales manager. I've been a sales rep throughout my career. I've been in different positions in the leadership, but my focus was always sales, because sales is something where you see here drives cash, dollars, money. And what is marketing? Marketing is nothing but the brain behind the sales. It's the center of focus to provide all the resources which can bring in cash to the company. That's very important. Now, most of the time in sales happens where the seller is the center of focus, and the entire resource, time, planning, and everything goes behind sales by the seller to convert the products into cash, bidding customers. As such, in pharmaceutical companies, there are doctors, obviously. So we view in sales, we view our customers as a major link to the business. If you look at marketing, marketing starts focusing on the buyers. What are the tools? What are the strategies? What are the tactics behind acquiring the buyer? These are doctors specifically when it comes to prescription or critical care units or the ER docs or intensivists or blah, blah, blah. But primarily marketing also works towards enabling and providing resources to the sales personnel to convert those customers into products and of course into cash. Now, although sales and marketing are different, but they have the same goal to provide revenues back to the company and in turn provide the profitability, which is very important to enable the sales and marketing personnel into cash and providing them valuable resources. Now, these resources are in turn invested into advertising, sales promotion, creating new channel, identifying distributors, providing them the cost, which is very important, and marketing function is then split into sales and support function, which is providing resources. Now, sales management is also part of marketing management. Why I say so? Because I've seen myself, of course, grown from sales and moving back into marketing, because sales and marketing are basically like a bridge. So one end you have sale and the other end you have the marketing, and in between you have people, you have resources, you have many things which are involved there. And of course, the headquarter team is there to provide support and service function, which is very important. So why the reason I'm spending some time on sales is because you need to understand why there is a bridge to connect sales into cash profitability and gross margins. So sales management, of course, works on budgets, strives to achieve sales target and market share, manage the distributors, of course, organize sales training, handle customer complaints, effectively promote the products, and cover the entire market. And as sales managers, as national sales manager, we are obviously involved in building people skills, motivate them, lead them, communicate specifically on the target budgets in order to achieve those goals. And obviously to specify or identify customers based on A, B, and C class, based on their strength of providing revenues to the company. Now, let's come to the core topic. What is actually profitability management? Why I'm talking about this right now, when there are sales managers and sales reps striving towards the target and trying to achieve goals? Because being a sales manager, being a national sales manager or marketing manager, I was always involved in buying, or always involved in getting customer, acquiring more customers, going after customer, providing sales quotation, bringing down the cost, bringing down the price in order to win deals. Trying to fight against competition, bring down the competition, win deals. But I never thought what actually goes behind those deals, or what actually goes behind a brand or a product. It's obviously money. It's very important to understand why there is some money involved, what kind of money is involved, how much money is involved. Now, if I would have been a training manager in a pharmaceutical company or a medical device company, I would dedicate some time to provide training on profitability management, cash management, gross margin, gross profitability. So we look at gross profit. So gross profit is nothing but your overall sales, what you generate at the end of the quarter or the year, minus the cost of the product or production. That means whatever money goes behind building that brand or the product, minus the overall sales, gives you gross margin or gross profit. And then when you add sales and marketing costs, that means payables, salaries, incentives, bonuses, administrative costs, collateral, brochures. So you minus that, you come to your operating profit. That is the net income the companies and the organization looks after, and therefore builds a greater solvency to meet their long-term goals and long-term obligations. Of course, I'm going to talk about solvency later, but this is very important. What is gross profit? So if you look at the formula, I've simplified for everyone here. The gross margin is nothing but your net sales, your overall sales by the end of the year, quarter, minus the cost of goods, divide by net sales into 100. So it just sales minus cost, which basically you derive at gross margin. So why gross margin is important for every sales manager, national sales manager who are managing, obviously in most of the organization companies, such as matrix organization as spelled by Mr. Manoj, most of the national sales manager or the BU heads, they are the primary responsible personnel for managing the P&L, profit and loss account. Now, what they look at what is the main component of the P&L is the gross margin. Everybody in the BU category, they are involved in delivering gross margin at the end of the month or quarter, and they are monitored and managed. If the gross margin drops, become negative, then obviously you need to either generate more sales, or you have to look at your costs. You have to look at what price you're quoting in the market. Does it actually degrading or eroding your overall cost? So if you have better gross margin, at the end of the day, you can invest back into people. You can invest back into marketing strategies, tactics, campaigns, sampling, advertisement, customer survey, research surveys, blah, blah, blah. There's many things you can do when you have a positive gross margin. So here I want to emphasize what are the key areas that drive profitability or margins for the company. And sales managers, specifically zonal sales managers, who are the neuron of any company and the most important critical position in any company, they need to understand what is profitability. Because as you drive sales, but if you're eroding your margins, you're not going to get anything at the end of the day. It's going to be loss ultimately. So if you reduce the cost, your margins are going to be hampered. It's going to be negative. If you increase the cost is something which is very subjective, but you can actually make it more objective in terms of, providing higher prices in the market. You can also look at building premium into the brand. If your brand is very old, of course you can, and if it is say 800,000 crore brand, you can obviously derive premium. But if a brand is new, of course you cannot derive premium, but you have to look at cost to be balanced out. Now, in case of pharmaceutical company, you need to acquire more customers, and customer obviously more patients and more prescriptions through the doctors and through the critical care or intensive cardiology, etc. So introducing for a company or organization who's striving to get better margins or better profitability, they need to understand they need to introduce new products, new services to balance out their overall equation. And of course, very importantly, we were taught in the last so many years that we need to build the staff efficiency. In fact, more productivity. I would say permanent productivity. We always talk about PM, or there are many other connotations and definitions of this. So I don't want to get into this, but these are the four major factors. There are more factors which can be derived out of this and drive profitability. So what are the reasons for higher margin? What are the reasons for low margin? I've already covered a bit, but most important, it's very important to, when it is a new brand, for those who are beginners, when there's a new brand, you can get a price which can be little on a higher side. Okay. When you see sales not growing, you can drop price a little bit, but you cannot go below the threshold. So sales pricing, which is a part of your 4 Ps, very important. You need to have the right price, but the price should not be too low to impact profitability. That's very important. What is the reason for higher margin is that you need to build the price. So as the brand grows, as the brand acquires more market share, you can certainly start increasing the price a little bit, maybe 2%, 5%. It depends on the sales volume. That's up to the organization to decide. So sales practices which can actually increase your margins is very important. When there is a budget formulation in the organization, all the sales managers, sales reps need to be communicated. What are the expectations for the overall sales and revenue growth? But very important, what is the important aspect for increasing margins? Margins are the most important factor which can build profitability back to the organization. And then you can equip and train more sales force, acquire sales force, build sales force to build the revenues. As I say, sales cannot be built in a day. It needs people, it needs time, it needs money. And most of the price quotations, which might not be relevant to pharmaceutical companies, but is relevant to medical device companies, need to be monitored. All the pricing given out, because in pharmaceutical companies, obviously the sales price is set by the brand managers, so that cannot be changed, but somehow that needs to be looked into. So one very important thing which I need to highlight is that all the people need to do a better job in market intelligence. It's very important. Watch the customer price. Obviously, most of the time, the sales rep are caught unaware when the competition drops prices and gains more market share. So I will also talk something about cash flow cycle. Cash flow is very important. Of course, cash flow is a part of profitability, because once a company has surplus cash, they can reintroduce that cash into people and brands and introduce new brands. So as this is a cycle, it's an ongoing cycle. So if there is a new product or a new brand, cash is obviously built in by investors, promoters, and then they use this money to get into production, create the product. Okay, as the finished product comes out, there is a certain amount of cash attached to it, and therefore it is launched into the market by brand managers. Okay, obviously sales is done. Once the sales is done, if the company is into advance payment, then there's no problem. But if the company is into credit, they need to really monitor those credit days, and obviously need to have an possible intelligence mapping or a market mapping on debtor days. It's very important, because if it is there are many companies operating on credit. It also depends on which kind of brand they have, what kind of value it is attached, and what kind of distributors they have. Sometimes there are historical credit days offered to the distributors, but sometimes the company moves from credit days to advance payment, which is obviously very important, because that needs to you need to figure out or built in to cash management. So this is the ongoing cycle. Now, this is a very simple methodology of cash flow, which is obviously monitored by the finance team. And the cash needs to return by the distributors back to the company. It's very important. And as I said during my first slide, that sales is not complete unless you have collected the money. So I would also request most of the companies, sales managers who are operating on credit days, they need to see if the brand is doing really well. They need to move from credit to advance payment, because this is not a statement, but the idea is that the relationship between a distributor and a company is a symbiotic relationship. Both depend on each other. Okay. If somebody says that I cannot move in, if a brand is old, say about 1,000, 2,000 crore brand, and from credit days I can't move to an advance payment, I think it is wrong, because the brand is already established. The distributor is reaping the benefit. This distributor is building profitability, margins. But what does the company gets in return? They get losses. Ultimately, the money is not coming back. So there is a lot of struggle between the senior management and the junior management to get the money back, and there is a lot of pressure. Obviously, the sales rep will be under fire, because they will say, "I have done my sales, boss. Why the hell I am off to this?" But they need to be trained. The importance of gross margins and cash flow management is very important. So the incoming cash flow should be more than the outgoing cash flow. It's very important. The cash needs to be there. So why cash flow is important? Because obviously cash is king. If, for example, the company has huge cash, most of the company I admire who are obviously operating on advance payment, like my company, Nova Biomedical operates on advance payment. Unless and until the distributor transfers advance payment, the invoice will not be raised. So that's a very important thing, because in this case, the company or the organization builds solvency, which is very important. What the solvency means is that the organization's assets, obviously cash, far exceeds the liabilities. That means the long-term, they'll be able to manage the long-term financial obligation. They will be able to manage the long-term financial growth. They'll be able to manage the margin growth or sales growth or people growth. So that's very important. And obviously, if the company is planning to set up manufacturing hub or R&D hubs, CapEx is very important, because if the margins are not into positive or surplus, they will not be able to invest back into R&D or manufacturing or building employee relations or providing bonuses, incentives. I would say that a salesperson without incentive is zero. So a salesperson needs to be incentivized, and that incentivized is obviously built on cash flow management and gross margins, and obviously striking the right balance. The last, last topic which I want to stress on, the daily sales outstanding, and most of the companies who are operating in credit days, they will be able to understand. But for a sales manager and sales rep, they need to understand what it is. Simply, basically account receivable. That means the outstanding amount in the market divided by your average daily sales. So whatever is your daily sales or monthly sales, you divide by the overall outstanding in the market. So this is the measure of average number of days a company takes to collect a particular amount of cash after a sales has been made. Very simple to understand, right? So what is the benefit of DSO and trend analysis? Obviously, generation of cash, improving cash flow, has a better trend analysis. This is obviously monitored by the finance department. So a sales manager or sales rep doesn't have to take care. The DSO trend is obviously provided by the accounts team and finance team. And during the business reviews, obviously the national sales manager or a sales manager should discuss about DSOs in case the organization is obviously operating on credit days. That what is the important DSO? If, for example, a company has a 30-day credit period, okay, and the say quarter one sales was say 50 crore, and suddenly the sales has gone to 80 crore, but the credit days has gone from 30 days to 90 days. That is really impacting the overall gross margins. That is very important. So, but the DSOs can be affected by seasonality. For example, antibiotics are usually sold more during the infectious seasons, such as the monsoons, especially in dengue. But it could also, DSOs could also be affected by your introduction of new brands, because you're trying to sell more. Sometimes there is sitting inventory at the distributor's shelf and they are crying about it. So this could be impactful, but you need to really have a DSO trend as to how the DSO is actually moving. Whether the DSO graph is moving up, that means you are not sitting good. If it is moving down, that means you're better off. The cash flow is good. So this is, there are several ways of calculating DSOs. One of them is account receivable divided by total credit sales in number of days, into number of days, obviously. And there is account receivable divided by total credit sales divided by number of days. So with this, I would like to end the slides and summarize that cash flow is king. Then there need to be more emphasis on what is gross margin, how it needs to manage, what is the cost and value attached to each product. So thank you so much.
Yes, Yogesh, kindly stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, very insightful presentation, very informative about sales. You talked about not only the difference between sales and marketing, you lay more emphasis on sales being cash. It's a line function. And even though if you increase in volume, but if you increase the debtor days, this will not go well with the company. So you lay more important points in terms of reducing your debtor days. You talked about cash flow cycle, which is very, very important. And you said that cash is most important for any organization. Solvency, where the cash exceeds the liability. We'll talk about the health of any organization. So there is, again, certain views which have come by, for example, I'll just share those. Kanwal Chopra says, DSO very interesting. To arrive at number of credit days looks better. And also there is Chopra talking about any percentage of price cut will have proportional manifold higher negative impact on profitability. So he talks about any percentage of price cut will have a negative impact. So again, yes, now I will go to my colleague ICS if there are any questions which are there for Yogesh.
Yeah. In fact, the presentation was really insightful, because we, from sales and marketing, we never, bother about how much collection has come. But you really, thrown the importance of why cash should be considered as a most important factor here for running a business, rather than just getting a sales. So there are good appreciation from the, the audience. And from Armugam, again, he commented that, yes, a very good presentation on cash flow, especially. And Yashwant Mishra was saying that cash is king. And in brief life to each one connected with you, to organization, it actually, increases the lifespan of the organization as well as the people. And there is a lot of appreciation from Rahul Singh and Armugam, Yashwant and Praveen. So thank you guys. And thank you, Yogesh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I really appreciate the live audience who have taken their time out on Sunday and listening and updating their knowledge and making their knowledge as the best friend. And especially YouTube, Facebook, live audience, keep sharing your views about your sessions and keep asking questions. We'll be taking all the questions once all the 3 presentations are done. We have our next presenter, which is there, our speaker, Dr. Manish Upadhyay. So I will request Dr. Manish Upadhyay to kindly share your presentation. Dr. Manish Upadhyay, please unmute your mic. Share your presentation.
Are you able to see the presentation?
Yeah. Your voice is clear, but presentation is not visible still. Dr. Manish Upadhyay again has a rich experience in pharmaceutical industry. He is a PhD and he has 22 years in the industry experience. He is working as a general manager. And again, rich experience, as I said, as a general manager in pharma, life science pharma. So over to you, Manish ji.
Hello. Yeah. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for both the eminent speakers. Really, I learned from Mr. Manoj Sinha sir, regarding the team building part and few nitty-gritties. He has really put it in a very apt way. And most importantly, from Yogesh sir also, this is regarding sales is incomplete without collection. Absolutely true. Now, I will come to my topic also, what is the scope of customized therapy in the new normal? Now, everybody is aware we are going through tough times. And how now a lot of a buzz is going around regarding digital marketing, digitalization, how things are going. No doubt that in last 1 or 2 months, particularly in the month of April, or May, channel distribution got disrupted and everybody else got disrupted. So we'd like to share with you this topic, and I'd like to learn and share from everyone. So again, I just talked about regarding the customized therapy, how it has been done, what is the idea behind this entire topic or project. Whatever I've done in the past, I've tried to incorporate with the omissions, with some positives. So, like to highlight what is customized therapy. Everybody knows that when in a traditional pharma, doctor prescribes the drug is purchased by the consumer, that is the end patient at retail stockist level, from retail level, and goes to the channel distribution. Here, when it comes to customization, the most important part is it is tailor-made for a patient. This is patient-specific, tailor-made for a particular patient. One. Second thing is it is customized on the basis of patient's disease. Third, it is of course with the doctor's opinion regarding his clinical correlation and his history of the patient, and on the basis of that, the therapy has been prepared or customized. For example, allergy products. Now, if you see, allergy is a big market. Around 30 crores Indians are allergic, more than that, as per WHO. And if you see, the person suffers from allergy, go to a doctor for the pill, he gives antihistaminics, some steroid nasal spray or antibiotics. But after 10-15 days, he feels okay, and then again when he comes in contact with particular allergens, he faces the problem reoccurs. So what to be done? That I will be discussing in the next slide. Now, most importantly, the challenges there are really a lot of challenges which we came across when we launched this product, the concept, the product in the market, because the concept was new, the product was new, and the company is totally new. So how to get a foothold in the market? Now, Manoj sir has rightly very nicely talked about team building. So here, the most important challenge was the building of the team, right from picking the right persons who's having some knowledge in the particular segment or having some geographical knowledge, and they will definitely, that was zeroed in on those particular aspects. So team building has been done, and then the other challenge was how to amalgamate these people, those who are coming from various companies, having various background, because they have their own dogmas, they have their own doubts, because how the product is new, the concept, the company. Of course, they are having a good presence. These people are having a good experience and presence in the market. So that was really challenging. Other thing was convincing them. Now, once you build the team, once you convince them, when you onboard them, the other important challenge was most important. I will underline is to convince the internal customers. That is the team, because if the team is convinced, then only they are able to convince the customers. Now, when I talk about new concept, new product, this was for example of an allergy product which I talked about. Now, one more challenge which came across is awareness among the doctors about sublingual immunotherapy or skin prick test also, which is USFDA approved. Of course, doctors are aware of this skin prick test, but doctors are not at all, ready to take this further because there was no solution for that. We talked about test only, and any test is incomplete without therapy. So we put the point, test is incomplete without therapy, and here our entire objective was to provide solution to the problems of the patient, allergy problems. Of course, allergy is not a life-threatening disease, but it affects the quality of the life of the patient. It affects the quality of work of a person who is in office. It of course affects the students who are going to school, and the day-to-day activities there, it has got hampered because of this nibbling or niggling problem. Now, what to be done? How it has to be taken in the market? Now, most importantly, again, when it comes to test and therapy, then we talked more about providing the solution for the patient's problem. So ultimately, objective was to provide solution. For this, the multi-pronged approach has to be taken. Awareness among HCPs. Their updation regarding this, how test has been done, why it is going to benefit to them, how it's going to help them in the practice, how it's going to give value addition to the practice, and ultimately how it's going to provide solution for their patient. And then there are certain doubts regarding the efficacy of the immunotherapy part also, because allergen immunotherapy currently available in subcutaneous form also and sublingual immunotherapy as well. But there are certain approvals are required. When it comes to subcutaneous immunotherapy, there are US FDA approval is there, but when it comes to sublingual immunotherapy, for certain tablets only it was available for, say, for example, house dust mite sort of products. Now, how to be taken into the market? How this unique model of customized medicine to be launched in the market in various geographies across India, because the market was quite big. How it can be done? Now, as I discussed, this unique model of customized medicine, that is allergen immunotherapy, and what we have done is that we try to train doctors, and particularly the paramedic staff. Doctors have been sensitized in national and state conferences, and we put up like that new paradigm in allergy management, hands-on FPT and SLIT, that is sublingual immunotherapy, so that the KOL, a leading allergologist, used to address doctors, train them, bring hands-on, let them understand how tests, how diagnosis has been done. Of course, they were aware, but what next? Because diagnosis, and they are not having any solution for that. Again, it comes back to providing the popping pills. Here, what we try to do is to aware doctors about this entire gamut, and then also trying to develop their parallel allergy practice in the clinic. And not the things doesn't stop there. Here we are also trying to develop or train the paramedics, because doctors or leading KOLs are quite busy. They don't have time to perform allergy tests, which takes some considerable time, around 35-40 minutes. So here what we have planned to do is to provide this training to the paramedics, how allergy tests have been done, to train them under the watchful eyes of the doctor. They were performing the test on the patient. Doctor was the right judge for the patient. He has taken the call as per the clinical correlation and his history. He suggested the patient to go for the test. Here, our team and our set of doctors were training paramedics also how to perform the test, how to do the test, how to take the reporting, how to analyze the reports, how to interpret the reports, and what will be the next course of action, because counseling plays a very great role. Drug has to, medicine or the therapy has to be taken for minimum 3 years, and adherence is a mainstay for any therapy. After that is divided into two parts: initiation therapy as well as this maintenance dose or booster dose. So it has been gradually taken like that. Now, why allergy should be treated? That already addressed. We see that people think that, okay, it's having a normal, I'm having allergy, I'm having a sneezing, I'm having a rashes, I'm having a red eye, watery eye. I will take some antihistaminics from the chemist counter. I will feel okay for 7-10 days. Or if worsens further, I will visit a doctor. He will prescribe some better pill, or he will situate antibiotics. So allergy need to be treated. Ultimately, here, if you provide immunotherapy, it have an immunomodulatory effect. Now, in this COVID times, we are talking about immunity. So here we are trying to build the immunity of the patient. Of course, there are certain, not 100% patient doesn't get benefited out of it, but it depends. Those who are patients, those are really in need of that, it really helps them. Now, allergy has to be treated. The most important thing in pediatric patients, particularly, if you treat allergy, the study says if you treat allergy at the right age, it doesn't lead to asthma. If a patient is having both the comorbid conditions, his conditions worsens. So if you treat the allergy at the right age, it's really helpful for patients, not only for adult, but pediatric patients, it's really going to help. There are a lot of doubts, there are a lot of challenges we came across regarding allergy testing, because still the awareness level was very low. So our entire focus was on creating awareness among STPs and providing solution to the patient. here, when we were talking about the solution part, there are a lot of doubts when it comes to test only. When the first step itself has a lot of hindrances. Doctors have a lot of doubts. If you're doing allergy test, if you're putting some allergen, which is in a very, it is not going in the bloodstream. It is just scratching the surface when you put the allergens on while doing the test. They have a lot of doubts. Oh, my patient will be okay. How is going to respond? Is there going to be any anaphylactic shock? There was a lot of doubts regarding having doctors were having regarding anaphylactic shocks, anaphylaxis, and everything. So we have done sensitize those doctors in this particular thing. So this I'm just trying to share how what if we are going ahead with any sort of product, how we are able to take a science along with the benefit to the doctor, customer as well as the consumer, that is doctors and patients both. Of course, allergies affect quality of life, which I talked about, and entire dependent on antihistaminics, steroids, which I already have spoken, and again it takes to nasal place, and the cost, the burden goes on and on. There are a lot of studies, whether it is international or Indian studies, are talking about these problems are causing, particularly in the US, and millions and billions of dollars per year, and allergy problems are creating. And there are those patients suffering from severe allergies. They land up in ICUs as well because of anaphylactic shock. So why not try it? Why not give it some different concept? Why not try this? But then in the next thing, I will going to tell you how we have countered this, what are the problems about how we are able to take it forward. Now, doctors, or particularly our customers, we started asking them to initiate allergy clinics at their pets, or we propose like developing center of excellence for allergy, a one-stop solution for their allergy problems for the patient, a one-stop solution for allergy problems for their patients. Now here, handholding doctors, particularly handholding the staff, how to do the allergy test. Here, talking about the economics, how is going to help them, how is going to develop a parallel allergy practice and giving a complete solution to the patient. Then after, as I already discussed on diagnostic parts and training part, and the punchline was again, test is incomplete without therapy. Now, it's a very simple test, which is, you can see the pictorial also. It's very simple, just scratching, putting a particular allergen on the few tests we perform, and it is put on the foreskin of the patient. Of course, doctor is the right judge, and they do suggest to which patient it has to be performed. And once we put that, we just scratch with a lancet and needle. It doesn't go in it just lift the stratium corneum, and it doesn't go in the bloodstream. So after 10 minutes, you see the wheel and flare signs, and you can wheel and flare signs, and you can see the bumps like a mosquito bite. And then the interpretation has been done as per the reports. You can see the pictorial form. And this, on the basis of this test, we provide customized sublingual allergen immunotherapy for various allergies, which, like the causative allergens, may be house dust mite, which is very common, fungus, pollens, grass, and certain foods as well. So how it is supplied? Now challenge is, okay, fine, we have come up to this, the biggest challenge is how to be done, how it can be done. Because there are certain, we need to comply with certain things. So then, old days doctors were doing compounding. What we have done here, a doctor requisition form has been taken by our field staff. They used to visit the patient's details, the report. As per the report, the readings have been taken, they put in a doctor sign stamp has been taken and mailed. There is no channel here. There is a mail to a company. The set of doctors used to titrate, or they used to, compounding, or sort of, they used to titrate or used to dilute the solutions as per the patient's, because as I talked about tailor-made or customized, it is for each and every patient, the therapy is different, because the readings, the wheel and flare size post-allergy test will be totally different for each and every one. And the allergens also are different. Some may be fungus, some may be, like grass or pollens or dust or dust particle or dust mites. So that's why it has to be this requisition form is to ask them to mail it. Our team is to sit, a background office is to sit, make it how it has been done, what are the reports, then it will be shared with a panel of doctors and our staff, and then used to compound it, and then customized medicine has been prepared and supplied and sent it back to a doctor's point of care. So we always suggested at the first dose and with the instructions in the medicine, doctor should explain the patient how to go about the therapy. This counseling part has been done post test. Once the test has been going on, we try to do consult the patients. Once test has been completed, doctors and our team or their staff, doctor staff sometimes counsel the patients. If it is required, why it is required. If it is not required, fine. But when why it is a genuine case, who is suffering from allergies from last 2-3 years, playing constant sneezing, constant allergic rash, constant problem, and it is not getting benefited out of this, these are the right sort of patients. Those must go for allergen immunotherapy, and which of course helps them in a longer run. So here, this customization, this therapy has been sent directly at the doctor's point of care. Similarly, the way forward, I'd like to end with this, my last slide. Like the way forward will be, one can definitely explore, as per the pinpoint diagnosis and report, a customized therapy for a patient for a chronic as well as for those diseases which are affecting the quality of the life of the patients. Newer models can be explored. Now, a lot of digitalization we are talking about going on. Of course, in compliance with the regulatory authority, new products can be provided. Instead of new products, I'd like to emphasize on providing solution to the problems of the patients, providing solution to the consumers or the customers. And most importantly, ultimate aim should be improving the patient's conditions and outcome. Thank you.
Yes. Dr. Manish, yeah, you can just come out of the slide show. Yeah. Again, a very informative session by Dr. Manish, again talking about customized therapy in new normal, giving an example of allergy and how you can train paramedical staff. A very, very informative session today we had from Dr. Manish. Thank you all. Especially, I should say, today's sessions have been very, very informative. We have a lot of appreciations coming on YouTube, Facebook. Live audience have been spending time on Sunday. And there is one point which Chopra ji also wants to make. So I'll just share a concept into making, which I guess has limited role in COVID or post-COVID. So he talked about this is a concept which is in the making. And yes, now ICS, any questions which are there? I will request.
We have questions and appreciations. So we'll start with the questions from Armugam Arasan. So excellent detailed coverage about how to be a therapy to be established, like arranging conferences, CMEs and guidelines, techniques, and teach customers to screen, including paramedics. So like, he understood the concept, like what are the steps Manish has already given. And such strategy is very important, especially new therapy or new drug launches, on the cards. And the question from Armugam Periyasamy is, adherence to nasal spray is big challenge. Any solution to this?
See, when you talk about
you can just put your video on.
Yeah, it's on. I think.
ICS, you are not visible. Your even Manoj Sinha is not visible. I think Sinha, you can. Yeah. Now visible. Now, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What was the name? Arumugam, right?
Yeah. So the adherence to nasal spray is a big challenge.
Correct. I will. See, when we talk about nasal spray or corticosteroid intranasal spray, of course, it has some steroidal proportion, but it is a very, very small or micro quantity. But there is one term called medicamentosa. When you use this particular thing for a longer period of time, its effectivity is, or one patient gets addicted to that, or sometimes it relapses, nasal blockage and all those things. For a longer period of time, when we talk about, see, again, here doctor is the best judge. We as a sales and marketing person, we are not in a great position to address this thing. Doctors are the correct judge for this, because when they came across this type of problems and the patient has been given for a longer period of time intranasal corticosteroid or nasal sprays. So once they have to see the patient's history, first of all, how long he's taking, what are his clinical correlations, get his skin prick test done. Because why I'm emphasizing on skin prick SPT is because it is a gold standard. It is approved by US FDA also. So, and it is a very well accepted pan India, everywhere it is accepted. So once you find out what is the cause of his allergies, so instead of just giving nasal sprays, try to understand what is the cause of his allergies, and of course, doctor is the right judge, and then he should switch you to, if requires, go for immunotherapy to build it. So one longer period of time, of course, doctor has to take this call in this case.
Yeah, thank you. I think apart from that, to identify the one is the causes and the right counseling, and definitely will help the patient adherence. Because this is not a problem with only allergy therapy. Across any therapy, the adherence is very
Adherence is an issue.
Yeah, issue in India. So I think with the right counseling and spending time with the patients on how to adhere is more important here. Yeah, and one more question from Armugam. Skin prick test, is it widely accepted by Palmos?
Of course, it is widely accepted by Palmos, ENTs. They are very well aware of the SPTs because it has been lot many sessions are going on every year in international and national conferences by pulmonology conferences like NAPCON or other also. So these things are going on. So they are aware of this thing, and they is accepted very well also.
Yeah, and there is an appreciation from Naziruddin saying that LCT is doing excellent job in customization therapy. So
correct.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Mani.
Yeah, there is one more question which have come from Nitin Kagalkar. Nitin Kagalkar wants to know how to ensure empowering autonomy. How to ensure empowering autonomy. I think this is for Mr. Manoj Sinha on his presentation. How to ensure empowering autonomy when you talk about those 9 points. One of these points you talked. Yeah.
Good one. I think it starts from that's the reason it was not my first point. It gets into a sixth level of when building trust, building the enabling culture. What happens that when you have a right person in the team, that was my first step, right? Have the right team. Then you talk about having the goal very clearly defined. Then you have their skills very clearly defined. You have created a culture of transparency, communication, and collaboration. Then comes the level of autonomy. Now, when we can't jump straight away from recruitment to autonomy, right? We have to develop a sufficient amount of confidence that the person that I have in my team knows his job, has well skilled, and hence, as I said, if I'm not the person that I want in the team, whom I can't trust, then I think I'm right at the beginning. I'm gone wrong in terms of building a team. So that's the sixth step, and hence, once you come to that level, what is the choice you have today? Work from home. If you don't trust your people, what do? Keep your night sleepless. You keep waking up yourself, keep waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, whether the guy is sleeping or working. You make your life hell, make his life miserable, and don't allow him to perform. Trust. When we trust, they have lesser distraction. They're accountable for results. That's what my sense is. Hope this answered the questions.
Well said, well said. Trust is the most important parameter. And when you start trusting, you get back the things also. As a leader, this is a very important quality. Thank you, Manojji.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions which are there, ICS?
Yeah, there was a lot of appreciation, and the people from Mandeep Warrior, who was BU head in cardiology for Cipla for many years. So he was also watching, and we have Deepak Loyalka and Devadat Kaushal and Viraj Pawar. So, and Armugam. So all of them are, happy to see the sessions going, and, getting some great insights from all the speakers. So thank you. This is, there were, but, now I could not see those questions. In the live, you cannot see the old questions.
I think it was great listening to you both, Manish and Yogesh, on the topic. It was outstanding. Making the complex thing look so easy. I think my compliments to both of you. The way you can brought the subject, and I that was something that I couldn't do at the beginning. Customized therapy is the future, and we're going to be building whatever the ecosystem that it takes in order to build the customized. Whether it's the skin, radiation, corticosteroid, it's all chronic therapy. The way ESC, ACC, all of these guidelines are talking about, take each individual by individual, and there's nothing called a guideline. So you try and see that.
Correct.
So I think that's a very interesting subject. finance is a very difficult subject for sales and marketing.
Correct.
That's what Yogesh, you chose something which is very difficult. Even if I'm wanting to understand, I'm thinking, oh my God, such a complex subject. So even is very easy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But lastly, I'd like to add, like from Manoj sir also, like, see, when we are doing very good things, but sometimes once again you touch those chord, like I will tell you, touch the chord, you again go back to the very basic things, and sometimes we miss. Sometimes to make error is a human. So when you cover entire those 9 slides, and I was taking notes also. I'm also learning. Sometimes we also analyze where we went wrong, or how we can improve. Instead of, I like to say, how we can improvise with current what we are doing. And most importantly, Yogesh Singh sir, you are really enlightened us, because we in sales marketing, we just run behind the figures, but we always many of them, when it comes to hard cash part, we will sometimes either we ignore or something like we cannot. So it was really interesting. A lot of learning from you as well. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you, guys. I would just like to thank Manoj ji and Padya ji. It's very important, and I learned a lot. I think the learning curve doesn't stop. The forum was really good, and I think this is a really, a good, well formulated platform to have people from different areas sharing their thoughts, insights, and I would say please take care in these COVID times. Stay safe. That's very important, because life is very precious. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vinod ji. Thank you, Mr. Raman. Thank you, ICS. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we will go on to the last now.
Over to Raman. Yes.
And also to Raman and Vinod.
Yeah, we will say that thanks to all the LPC Facebook and YouTube live audience. Today we got an average of some around 50 to 60 live audience. At the peak, at around 11:55 was the peak where we got the highest number. That is 60 audience. They were there onto the Facebook as well as the YouTube, both the channel together. And thank you so much to all the audience, those who watch this video, the recorded video. So last LPC-13 that we got the reach of some around 24,000. That is the consistent that we are reaching in between the 24,000 to 27,000 audience when it comes to the weekly LPC program. And thanks to them also. Along with that, thanks to all the 3 speakers, Mr. Manoj Sinha sir, Yogesh Singh sir, and Manish Upadhyay. Thank you so much. And the new emerging moderator. Thank you so much, Vinod sir, and panelist Evergreen, our ICS sir. So thank you so much to all our audience and the speaker and the panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add on, those who want to, again, there is the recording link. You can watch the recording link also, which is there on YouTube. And Live Pharma Coalition, this is the 14th we are doing, and very eminent speakers are there. You can watch the earlier recordings also. And definitely we will see that we have one of the best speakers coming and sharing their thoughts with you in the future also. So every Sunday, tune in at 11 sharp, because Friendship Day, very, very important. Knowledge is your most powerful friend. So any parting comments before we close? Any of the speaker wants to share any of the parting closing comments? Manoj ji, Yogesh ji, or Dr. Manish, you want
to?
I would say
Manoj ji, yes.
Manoj, sir. Yeah.
Brilliant initiative. Keep it up. The audience will build up with the quality of discussion that we do. Relate with them. They will come and talk or reach out to you. So this is a non-profit, no interest business. I think it's important that it grows further, and I have my best wishes. Great initiative.
Thank you.
I like to kudos to you guys. What I observed is the initiative which has been taken, and I'll be sharing with Mr. Raman. These are colleagues in Cipla, ICS, and Vinodji also. See, something new or something novel you thought of, bringing professionals from various backgrounds or various functions of the organizations and putting it at one platform. And of course, without any monetary benefit, and you guys at what you are doing, it's hats off to you. Keep the flag high, and my best wishes to all of you. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manish.
Thank you,
yes. Yogesh. Yeah.
By the way, just last comment, and a great job, really good. I mean, to Mr. ICS, Vinod, and Mr. Raman, I think this is a great platform. So no financial interest for everyone, and you can have more audience building up as the days goes by, weeks goes by. Thank you so much for inviting us. It was a pleasure having you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you all.